Hello, hello, hello. If you could hear me, put yes in the chat. If you could hear me, put yes in the chat. We are about to start day one of the AI Agents for Non-Tech Founders Masterclass, and it's going to be awesome. Like today will inevitably change the way maybe you're thinking about the future of your business and to push you to the limits of what you're thinking could be possible for your business or how your business may even look like 12 months from now. So I'm grateful for you being here today. I appreciate you. And if you're ready to learn, put learn in the chat. Let me see. So if you're ready to learn, put learn in the chat. All right, perfect. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Shanae Murray. I'm the founder of growthacademy.global, and we help entrepreneurs build their personal brands, but also in the last 2 years have been helping entrepreneurs implement AI in their businesses and just make time to learn the skills. And you'll understand why today, because as AI advances, your market will inevitably change. How you could leverage AI in your business will inevitably change. And if you deeply care about your clients, you should be on the forefront. So you should anticipate maybe how they could start to leverage AI in their businesses even before they're aware of it themselves. So if you're a founder, I want to know. So put founder in the comments. I also want to know how much exposure you have had to AI agents at all. Is it just something that you've read in an article? Have you seen uh, ChatGPT's operator in action? Have you seen some other browser use tools or just something more agentic like deep research? Like, what has been your exposure to AI agents so far? I want to know. So put kind of explain that in the chat and we'll start in about a minute. Never used or experienced AI agents. Okay. Some exposure. Okay. Founder never used them. So because most, okay, because most of you have used AI but no agents. So you're in the right place, right? So this masterclass is for you if you're a business owner, you're a founder, you're a true expert in what it is that you do. So you deeply know the proven processes within your business. You know what your clients needs. You have a process or multiple processes that help them get results and that have helped them get results year after year. You maybe use ChatGPT, but you're not a coder. If that's you, put me in the chat because that's really who this masterclass is for. And if you use something like ChatGPT, but have not had that much exposure to AI agents, this masterclass is for you. And that in and of itself will blow your mind because I will show a very, very simple example in the beginning of this masterclass, something that we will learn on day 3, which tools we could use to deploy something like this. But just seeing this example live could really get your wheels spinning. Okay. Okay. So, what I'm going to do, you all are in the right place, by the way, is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you one simple example. Now, if I were to, and this really will demonstrate the difference between what an AI agent is and is not. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT, and you could do this with any large language model. So I'm going to go here, make sure that you can see my screen. So you can see my screen, right? I'm going to say, I need to create a calendar, an appointment calendar in my Google. Please help. Or how can I do this, right? So this is what a large language model will do. It will be able to tell you how to do it. So create a new Google Calendar for appointments. You're going to go to Google Calendar. You're going to click on the left sidebar. You're going to click the plus next to other calendars. And then you will have to actually go do it. So do we understand this? Right? I could also ask it a question. Which calendar do you think is best? How can I do this? How can I do that? But I am having a back and forth dialogue with this chat bot, so to speak. When we get into things that are agents, is that instead of giving you just the information, it will do it for you. Now, it will do it for you with some guardrails. So I want you to imagine bowling. Right now, most of the agents that are for non-coders like ourselves have certain guardrails in place. So, you have to give it your opinion here and there. It will ask you a question. But what is required for you to actually do this and the time required for you to actually do this is almost minimized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, and this is how you're using kind of chat GPT now, right? Put yes in the chat, just as an example. Like you're having dialogue with it. And I will answer all of your questions at the end of the masterclass. So put yes in the chat. This is okay. I see a bunch of yeses. Now, this is a very simple example, and this is ChatGPT's operator. It's one of the AI agents. It's on their pro tier. On day 3, we're going to go into different tools that you could use to get the same result that I'm about to do. So don't go off and just go buying tools. We're going to go into that on day 3. But the only reason why I'm showing you this now is so that you could experience, even through this simple task, what an agent can do. So what I'm going to do is say, I need to create a Google Calendar appointment link. I want it to be called prospect, or we'll do LinkedIn strategy, and make it 2 to 4 p.m. ET availability Monday through Friday. Okay. So previous, I would have to kind of know how to do this. Now it's going to actually do it. So it's going to go to Google, the calendar. It may ask me to log in. It's actually already in my calendar, as you can see here. And Shanae doesn't need to learn how to do this. Okay. Let's see. So it's creating it. It's going to the right place. So it's going to title the calendar. It's going to put the times available. It's going to do all of this for me without me doing anything. And I don't have to be on the screen. I could be doing something else. Now, here and there, it may say, oh, I've run into an error, or, I've completed it. What do you want me to do next? And then the next thing I could tell it to do is, go design a landing page on this tool and embed the Google Calendar inside of the landing page for me. What does that do? I don't have to learn how to build a landing page. Does this make sense? Now, is it as fast as me? Let's say if I were to do this, no, but I already know how to do this. The point that I want to show you is that what AI agents are going to do is remove the need for you to learn some things, and that will ultimately affect your industry. Are we starting to understand what's possible here? Put yes in the chat. The reason why I need you to understand that is that it will also affect what your clients need to pay for or want to pay for. So I don't know if there's somebody out there that does this, but in a very singular example, if there were someone that gets paid to create these appointment calendar links, what is going to happen to their skill set? Is it going to increase in value or decrease in value once AI agents are as popular as ChatGPT? Increase or decrease? And I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Look, so it's doing all the days because I said Monday through Friday. And then it will finish and it will provide me with the link. The use cases for this, we are going to cover tomorrow. So in terms of, you could do a lot with this, and I don't want to just reveal everything. But the point is that I want you to start thinking about what can AI agents do today in your business that you don't necessarily need to learn? And what can they do maybe that your clients will start to need? And we'll talk about that shortly. So it's going to do Friday and it's almost done. I don't know why I did 4:15 on Wednesday, but you know. And then it's going to save it. And I could say, hold on. You did 4:15 on Wednesday. So I've created, should I go ahead and share the booking? Yes, please share it. So now it's going to grab the link for me. So I don't even have to learn where to get the link. Great. So now I click here and here it is, right? I could even say, oh, you missed on Wednesday. I want it to be 30 minutes, not 60 minutes. This is my fault, by the way. I should have given it more specific instructions. And I only want the next 3 days on the calendar to be available. But the point is that Sinead doesn't need to learn how to technically do this anymore. Are we understanding this? Put yes in the chat. And I don't want you to get stuck on the tool. The one I just showed is ChatGPT operator, but you don't need operator. We're going to go into different tools where you could achieve that same thing on day 3, where you could even code it and build it yourself pretty easily without even being a coder. Okay. So now that I've shown you that, let's go to the actual, presentation here. So today's goals are to understand what AI agents really are, to kind of see them in action. We saw one, and to realize why you need this. So like we just went through, the key difference is that traditional AI is back and forth input. An AI agent, the first level, is a little bit different than what we saw. So the first level, I would say, would be more like a OpenAI deep research or Grok deep search, which is something that you could say, go do a market analysis on this person, or go do a competitor analysis on my top 10 competitors. It will go, but you won't necessarily see it on a browser. So it will go search through maybe 30 to 100 online sources and then come back with that information. So that would be like the first tier. The second tier is kind of what I just showed you, which is it can do administrative tasks and technical things, and you could see it happening. And by the way, each of these tools will keep kind of a library of all of the steps so that, you could kind of learn from it as well. And some of these things could be, hey, this is what my mom likes. This is how much I want to spend for Mother's Day. And, go purchase it for me. And also make sure that I get the notifications to my cell phone for shipping. versus just you getting ideas from something like ChatGPT. We can do the landing page example. We're going to do the landing page example tomorrow, and then a content calendar example. So ChatGPT can give you a table inside of it and say, hey, this is what I recommend based on your data for you to post. But what an AI agent could do is actually go create that content calendar for you, the actual database, and set it up technically, maybe in something like Google Sheets or maybe in something like Notion, really in your preferred tool, right? Depending on whatever tools it is that you do prefer. Does this make sense? Put yes in the chat. So why this matters is I'm going to give you a few examples. So the first example is an IP consultant. Let's say that all of their content is really based on, this is how you onboard an employee. This is how you teach your employees to protect your IP. This is how to have these conversations. And everything that they talk about is about human employees. But things are changing in the startup world where a lot of the employees are actually going to be very specific agents that perform tasks. So if the IP consultant doesn't start to understand that, maybe their content becomes outdated, right? They're talking about how to onboard human employees. Maybe they should also be talking about how to protect the IP of the AI agents that you're building, right? Or how to have human employees interact with the right AI agents so that they could work together. Does this make sense? Put yes in the chat. Not only that, but their service offering may also need to change. Maybe they only help founders talk about the IP that is really interrelated to humans and not necessarily about the agents. And so that may have to change. Example 2, a recruiter built her business on rewriting resumes manually. Good luck, right? Because there's already a lot of tools coming out that are very niche specific for people to not just write their resumes, but do other tasks related to finding a job. So if you don't anticipate these needs, maybe your skill set is that you help executives in pharma get a career. And maybe you're able to build a process or build an AI agent around helping, an AI agent that could help resume writing or audit the resumes of executives in pharma. But if you don't start to think like this or anticipate where your skill sets, your lower skill sets can be replaced really by AI, then you could find yourself in trouble. Does this make sense? Put 1 in the chat if this is making sense. Let's say you're a marketing agency and most of your profits come from building landing pages for fitness influencers. What happens when somebody builds the first AI agent or shares a free video on how fitness influencers can build a landing page with ChatGPT operator in 20 minutes or less? These are things that we have to anticipate. And I want you to, you start to understand, how could I use this in my business? And there are other steps that I want you to anticipate. So let's take it one step further. Let's say that you deeply understand your business. You build the best AI agent in your niche, or you start to use AI agents to perform core tasks for you. In the example of the marketing agency that builds landing pages, let's just say that you really start to familiarize yourself with how to build the best landing pages in the least amount of time with these AI agents, where they do it really well. The next step is to imagine that now you are able to sell this AI agent to competitors of yours or to clients of yours. Put AI in the chat if that's making sense. And this is already happening at a very beginner level. I want you to understand that. In a year, this will look completely different. So just like when ChatGPT came out, there were a lot of people that were like, this is a fad, this is going to pass. It didn't pass. the same kind of like what I'm telling you. AI agents may seem like babies today that can't do these things, but there's already networks being built that are very similar to LinkedIn, except the profiles on the networks are not people. They are agents that people are building to fulfill specific outcomes and that basically follow workflows in a specific process. Most of them are terrible right now, yes, but there will be some great ones that come out. And I would rather you be one of the first ones that build a great one in your niche. Do you understand? So this is happening. This is happening. There are already LinkedIn style networks being built for, hey, you could purchase this agent or you could buy tokens to use this agent, but you're the one that built it. So let's take it one step further, okay? And I know that this is like stretching what maybe you've been exposed to, but that's the point, right? And I'm sharing this information because I want you to win instead of you being, very surprised and hit by a tsunami of a wave that you didn't even see coming. So the next step is really to understand that just like humans, the best teams have specific niches. So there's one person that's really good with the creative, right? Or there's a copywriter, there's like a person that does thumbnails, there's a person that does data input, there's a person that does this, does that. In whatever you do for your clients, or even within your own business, you could probably think of 3 specific workflows or processes that could eventually, within the next 6 or 12 months, you could build something to fulfill those things really well. And those agents working as a team, and then that team itself being sellable. And that's really where the real outcome is, because what they're anticipating is that the best, they're calling it AI crews, will be just like kind of human teams where the leverage is you understanding the context of the industry, the niche, the workflows that need to happen, and then these 3 to 5 AI agents working together to fulfill that outcome. Does this make sense? So in my case, I could build one to fulfill LinkedIn strategy, right? I could build one where you speak to an AI agent with voice. It asks you the right questions strategically, it gathers that information, it outputs a LinkedIn marketing strategy. The next agent could be a profile optimizer, right? The next agent could help you launch your newsletters and write them. I could build 5 of them and they could start to work in sync. And basically, you have a machine that I could sell to you. And it's in the works. Does this make sense? Put yes in the chat. So, where do you have leverage? As an expert who understands your clients, that is not a coder, your leverage is really understanding A, your own business, and B, what your clients need. But I would rather you practice on yourself, right? And this is where a lot of people just don't understand how critical it is to really set time aside, because you don't learn these things by magic. You learn these things through iteration and exposure. I've spent tens of hours, maybe hundreds now, with ChatGPT Operator. Only because I've done that do I know where it's still weak, where it's strong, the tasks that it is really helpful with, the tasks that it kind of wastes my time with, and so on and so forth. Without putting in those hours and seeing where it's strong or weak and how it's progressing, I'm blind. Does that make sense? The only reason why I know what tasks I can test with it is because I know my business. I know the processes. I know where my highest value skills are, even in the age of AI, and where I need to honestly replace myself with AI. Put 1 in the chat if you're understanding this. So instead of having this fear thing that, oh my gosh, and I want to be very clear, and I'm going to say this very loudly. The people that are like, AI won't replace you, someone using AI will. Yeah, I mean, it's true. But there are a lot of people that are not going to be ready for this. There are a lot of people whose jobs are going to be lost. It's already happening. I spoke to someone last week, mid-sized company, a consultant serving a mid-sized company. That mid-sized company is replacing all of their sales team with AI agents. So whether people want to accept that reality or not, within the next 12 months, a lot of people will lose their jobs. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be better jobs, right? But what I am saying is that there will come somebody that understands the power of this, that understands the opportunity, that will build, that is already probably practicing using AI agents in their business, and that will build AI agents or teach their clients how to use AI agents, very similar to what you should be doing with your clients. And you could either look at it as, oh my gosh, AI can replace me, or you could actively, literally use AI agents, get familiar with them to try to replace yourself and to productize some of the skill sets that maybe you don't need to be doing. Does this make sense? Put yes in the chat if this makes sense. And so, one of the challenges that I want for you today, it's not going to be a coding challenge. It's really going to sit back and say, whoa, okay, this is new information, and it's gotten me to think differently. The challenge is like, where can you first leverage this? So in a simple of a task as, okay, creating the appointment calendar, I could then ask operator, okay, every time that someone schedules an appointment, I want these 3 automations to happen. I don't need to know how to do them. It could do it itself. Then I could say, create a landing page. We're going to do all of this tomorrow so you could see it. But I want you to think about the lowest hanging fruit where you even believe that AI can be leveraged. And the beauty of this is that you don't necessarily need to even know all of the steps to do it. So for example, I'm going to say I want to learn how to automate or use AI agents for the following. Create appointments on Google Calendar. Once a prospect does that, they get a few reminder emails. Once they create an appointment, I'm sent their LinkedIn profile. And then, let's just say this. This is just maybe I am sent a report of what is found about them 15 minutes before the meeting. I am not a coder. I do not know where to even start. But I know my workflows, right? So I'm just going to ask it, hello, this is what I want to happen. Please help me. I'm not a coder. Give me the steps. Okay. It's going to give me the steps, and I'm going to say, no, I don't want Calendly. I want to use Google. Then I will eventually get something back. And then that's when we can start to actually use AI agent tools to do some of these things for us. So we don't even have to learn how to do it. We just need kind of a guide. And then I could put this guide into an AI agent system. And then I could see, I could test 2 or 3 workflows and see which one actually is up to par or not. Does this make sense? Put yes in the chat. So you just need to have a good idea of like the first step that could happen, and then you can challenge it. When it says, "Oh, you need all these softwares," no, 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 no. These are the software tools that I have. Make it happen with what I have. Right? You can challenge these things. You don't just have to take it. Like, and this is an ongoing process because these tools get better and better every day. So there is an opportunity for you to learn with us. You can join. It's our AI mastermind. The moderator will put the link in the chat. We meet every single week, group coaching, and then every single month we meet to learn basically what has happened in that month and how to implement it in our business. And that link to join will be at the top of the chat. The offer for that link will expire at the end of today's masterclass. But I want you to ask questions. I want to see what your questions are. And this is really the leverage. If you don't know your business well enough to even go to ChatGPT and ask it where you could start to leverage some of these tools, or what is a workflow that you could use an agent for, then that's the first problem. And this is where experts that are not coders have leverage. You should know your business. On top of that, once you start to play with it, let's say 1 or 2 months in your business, you have some streamlined operations and agents down there, you know what works strong, where it's still a little weak, so on and so forth. Then maybe you could start to train or deploy some of these things for your clients. So Nicole says, so are you saying that an AI agent would replace these tools? So what an AI agent could do is connect them together, right? And this is where like rebuttaling with ChatGPT, it said go to Calendly. I want to use Google Calendar, right? Then I want this to happen. Then I want the email to look like this. And then I could take that and then an agent could actually do it. But the leverage there is also understanding what tools you have, what tools you kind of need, and challenging what it gives you, because it's just going to give you like 100 tools. You don't need to use those 100 tools. Does that make sense? So I want to challenge you now. What's like the first thing that you think an AI agent could potentially do that is the lowest hanging fruit, that is part of one of your critical processes in your business that you do over and over and over and over and over again? So share some of your responses in the chat. And the pin to join the AI mastermind is at the top. LinkedIn post, can it make my outbound cold calls for me? Yes, there are agents that can do that. LinkedIn posts and newsletters. So let's say Bill, right? Bill goes to ChatGPT, but you have to give it context. Hey, I have this list. Okay. I don't use any AI voice tools yet. I need to create an agent, or I want to use an agent to start to cold call some of these people, or I want to build one, right? Because the real intellectual property that you have, Bill, is that if you've done 1,000 calls within a specific niche, then you kind of know what script works best. And then ChatGPT says, okay. And you could say, I am not a coder. Please help me. Da, da, da. And it should give you ideas of where to start. Yes. Nicole, yes. So if you actually go to my website now, I tested this and I was just like, hey, this is the landing page format that I want you to follow. Go in, and we have Kajabi, go into Kajabi and design it. And it did. So it can design, and we'll cover that tomorrow. Create Facebook pages for my clients. This is a good one, right? So what you need to understand here is that, like, where your ultimate value lies is that if you've had hundreds of clients or you've had clients over the years, you know, for this niche what Facebook pages, what the most successful Facebook pages have in common, right? And what they don't necessarily have in common. So those instructions are critical, right? That understanding is critical. What about privacy? For example, I give operator access to my calendars. How is that managed or guaranteed? So once it's in control mode, it doesn't take screenshots, right? Or it says that it doesn't take screenshots. The privacy issue we will cover on day 3, because ultimately, like, if you don't want any of your stuff in something more user friendly like operator, like a browser use tool, then you will have to basically connect your API and kind of like run it yourself. And I'll show you how to do that. But it says it, if you look at ChatGPT operators like terms and conditions, you could also within operator, we're going to cover this, kind of share what you're okay with it remembering. So I'm okay with it remembering like my Notion password or something, or my name, maybe my address if I'm constantly purchasing things. Like, let's say if it's constantly doing Instacart orders and I have to constantly put in my address and my name, that gets kind of annoying. So you can tell it what you want it to remember in terms of that. So that is your challenge for today. I want you to come back tomorrow and put 2 in the chat if you're going to be here tomorrow. I want you to come back tomorrow with a very clear one task thing that you want an agent to start to do. And that one task thing, by the way, could require 25 steps. So you're not going to tell. The difference here lies in, if I go into the agent and I say, optimize my LinkedIn profile, what is it going to do? It's going to do it based on just like the obvious knowledge that it has from the internet about what other people say is best to optimize the LinkedIn profile. And that's kind of where my expertise would come in, because I could guide it. I could give it certain instructions on how to actually optimize it. And then it could touch a few base points with me. What other questions are there? And by the way, the reason why we have the community the way that we do is because tomorrow there could be a new AI agent. So ChatGPT has already launched two of them. One is called Deep Research, which we will experience and witness some use cases of tomorrow. I think that some of the use cases for deep research are highly underestimated. And then Operator, right? There are other tools that are easily available and similar, but at the end of the day, you also get what you pay for in this world. Because there's constant advancements and because it itself is getting faster, better, you know, good luck applying just what you learned today and sticking with it. So we meet weekly. I'm able to answer questions and it's a great group. Also, a lot of the group is building their personal brand. So when it comes to like content, a lot of those questions revolve around content, webinars, group coaching, those sort of things. And then we have like a 2-hour actual mastermind every month, the last Friday of every month. And what we focus on is not just like the most outlandish updates, but the most practical ones. So, Tom, one of the tools that I would recommend for you, what's the best way to give more knowledge to an LLM in a private atmosphere that includes patient details? Goal is to ask analytic style questions using this data. I mean, I would not do that on something like ChatGPT or Claude because it just goes to the internet and it could train based on that. A lot of the lawyers and doctors that I've seen are having a good experience using Notebook LM, just because all of the data that you put into it, it could handle like heavy documents, a lot of data. You could put all documents for like one client into just one folder and then ask it just specific questions and it will only pull from that specific client. Which is better, ChatGPT or Grok? I really think that it depends on the person and it depends on for what. So that's like saying like what's better, a bow and arrow or uh you know, uh what are those things called? Like a spear gun. Both can be used. It just depends on the scenario. um if I'm like in the deep sea, then the bow and arrow is kind of useless, right? Versus like the fishing spear gun that could probably protect me a little bit better. So I think it depends. I think that you only know once you set time aside. So here I'm going to show you something. Like the first step in all of this is you need to dedicate time to this. So, like 1 hour a day or 1 hour every other day to you just literally playing with these tools and practicing with these tools. Imagine someone that has never used ChatGPT versus someone that has prompted 10,000 times by this point. It's almost like they've learned a new dance, a new language, and they have a lot more leverage than they even realize because you learn just through iteration. You know how to reply when it gets stuck. You know kind of which prompts work better or at what point of memory it starts to get a little wishy-washy, right? So the first thing is that if I were you, any founder listening, literally put time on your calendar to learn AI. That is a non negotiable. If you do not do that, then good luck. Number two, identify a single workflow to start to practice and to use that time with. And then literally just testing, iterating. And then once you really figure out how it could be leveraged to achieve a process or a workflow, then that's when it could potentially be sellable or when you reach the point where you could help other people, like your clients, implement it into their businesses. Does this make sense? But it's like if I don't spend time learning the game of baseball, how can I then literally help my clients know what's coming and teach them how to do it? Or just warn them or give them kind of share where their blind spots are. You can't. So, part of prioritizing your business, your future success, the future success of your clients is to start to leverage some of this because your knowledge, your context, your understanding of these processes is the ultimate leverage. Like, this is, we need to understand this. For the first time in history, someone like me can go to something like ChatGPT or Claude or Grok and be like, I am not a coder. This is what I need this thing to do. Please help. And I could build something from just understanding what I need, understanding the context of my business, understanding what my clients may need. Never before in history was this possible. You would have had to learn how to code. Are we like understanding? This should blow your mind. Put yes in the chat. Yes, Notebook LM. And we'll be covering Notebook LM tomorrow as well. So, like, your knowledge is your superpower. You could either start to productize it, start to really play with these tools so that the processes that you know could be leveraged at scale by people. You could start to replace yourself, literally. Or you can wait for someone in your niche to do it, and then good luck, especially if you don't have brand, by the way. You know, Gary Vee says that all the time, brand is what will protect you against becoming a commodity. And that's why, you know, I'm always preaching about that too. So what other questions are there? You mentioned the process. Can you also bring data from multiple sources? For instance, can it pull information from different websites? Yes. What other questions? Tanya, for what? And what do you like if there's one thing you want to learn, what do you want to learn? Like if there's one thing that you want to be shown to you tomorrow, like a use case, cuz I want to show you use cases that are the most valuable to you tomorrow. Okay, landing pages. What else? Okay. Private data, LLM. Okay. Content calendar. I could do that. All these are okay. Sales processes. That's like saying marketing. Lead magnet is like a landing page. Or we could give it something and say create a lead magnet, like a quiz or an ebook. Analyze a client call. Okay. That's pretty simple. Can it do like a targeted news feed of current events? Yes. Assessment strategies. Okay. Holisticology, be a little bit more specific. Yes. So, Tanya, message support. I'll put it in the chat. Creating a course. Okay. So the easiest way to build my first AI agent is to know what to build. And this is why today is day one. Because I could give you all the tools and then you'll be like, well, what do I need to tell it to do? Because at the end of the day, you still need to tell it what to do. Even if you're building an entire workflow and it doing it like every day or every 5 minutes or whatever, you still need to guide it. So this is really like the first step to everything is what is the first kind of workflow process that you think these tools could be successful at? And then literally writing down exactly the steps. So, Nicole, I guess I do have a question. When you say building, is that the same as just telling the AI agent to do a specific thing? So, telling it to do something is like one level. Building one that does something at an interval of time is different, right? So, let's say that every day I wanted an agent to um, review everyone who commented on a blog post and then potentially add them to a table in my Notion or Google Sheets, put their research them, put their LinkedIn profile, and maybe message them. That would be what's considered like a fully autonomous AI agent. That it's really not gonna. It's gonna do a whole kind of workflow without any input of yours. But first, I highly suggest you bowl with the bumpers because you need to learn where it's weak and where it's strong, especially when applied to your process and your business and your niche. Plan and schedule a workshop including resources and tasks. Okay. Yes, Nicole, we will learn that on day 3. And I want you to understand that this seems a little far off now. So let me backtrack. In December or in the beginning of the year, I said in one of the trainings for the mastermind, I was like, the AI agents will be available within something like ChatGPT pretty soon. I thought it was going to happen in May. It happened in February. Just imagine like every tool you use, Grok, ChatGPT, Claude, soon what they'll have, all of them will have their own versions of Operator. And ChatGPT itself has said it's going to come out with many more specific use case agents. So they have the researcher agent, they have the browser use agent, they will launch more specific use case agents with specific expertise. The next level to that is you will be easily able to uh, schedule or like build your own workflows within these things and then make sure that they do it at automated intervals. Right now, that is a little bit more manual, but just like all of these things have rolled out in the last 2 years and have been, made user friendly, that will get more and more user friendly. So make I would say is similar, but even with make, right? Make, you could say, hey, and make is like it connects workflows. So I could say, every single time that I upload a YouTube video, I want you to pull the transcript and then create 5 posts for X or for LinkedIn, and then put those posts into my Notion. But even with Make, there's a million workflows that you could choose, right? There's like, if you use the AI within Make, it will give you one. If you ask ChatGPT, it will give you another one. So which ones do you use, and which ones are actually best for your business, and which ones actually create the best posts? Does this make sense, Fifi? So that's why deeply understanding like what needs to happen and what is quality outcome look like, because this is why most AI agents, even on these LinkedIn-esque sites right now, are subpar. Like they're just people that are building it that kind of know tech a little bit, but the outcome, like the result you get, is kind of garbage. It's because they don't really understand context and the nuance of that particular niche, or they're building it too wide. And it's really vertical. That's going to be super valuable. So eventually, an AI agent that can create 10 LinkedIn posts for a landscaping company is going to be much more valuable than an AI agent that can just create 10 LinkedIn posts for any company. But the one that designs the AI agent for the landscaping company really has to understand landscaping CEOs, what they need, how they can market themselves. This is where you have leverage. Yes, they should be super fine tuned. That's what makes them special. And eventually, people will buy, like Cruise, people will literally buy vertical teams of AI agents for specific niches to fulfill specific functions. Does that make sense? Put one in the chat. That makes sense. So it's really like all I want you to gain from today's lesson is like the one goal that I stated at the beginning was for you to expand your thinking. If that has happened, put yes in the chat. You should be thinking about your business a little bit differently. Whether you want it to or not, the market's going to change. Whether that's today or 12 months, it's going to happen. So, what your prospects, what your best clients can get from something like ChatGPT today, or just get from AI very easily today, is going to look wildly different in 12 months. And if AI can fulfill a lot of what you do in 12 months, then, and you don't change your service offering, you don't adapt, then good luck. And there's going to be literally 2 types of business owners: the business owner that's going to be wildly surprised by these changes, and the business owner that will anticipate these changes. Some of our clients are already helping their clients implement some of these things. And I would say they're about 6 months to a year ahead. So I hope that today has kind of forced you to think differently. And if you want to join the community, then click the link in the top. The offer will expire. So if you click that link tomorrow, it will be 4 times the price. Final questions. I have 2 minutes. Tomorrow we will actually witness certain use cases, and then day 3 we're actually going to build one. You're welcome, Jack, or I hope I said your name right. Okay, so be ready tomorrow for day 2. We'll see some use cases in action. And I'll try to prioritize the use cases that were mentioned today in the comments. God bless you. Ciao.